So here we go again. Actually, I have two stories that can tie into each other with this because Square Enix posted a big loss, which I'm not shocked about, but it just reinforces just how hard it is to make money in AAA gaming. So we have this Farm Folks game. They put a tweet out the other day where they showed the jiggle physics for a female character. And what's funny is the majority of people that posted on the tweet were just having fun and weren't really saying anything crazy. It was a joke. That's what the post was. And it was likely a joke because of all the stuff that's been going on with Stellar Blade. So they post this tweet here of this character, and she had some pretty big jiggles in her physics. They did 50% jiggles, 90% jiggles, and 30% jiggles. And then they posted, does anyone want to see what 150% jiggle physics looks like? And most people didn't do anything. They just either liked it or retweeted or laughed. And then, of course, the woke crowd came in. And they got all mad about it. So this developer backed down, posted a big old long apology. Here it is right here. Look at this apology note. And the game has now probably lost people who would have maybe played the game, but now won't. And they did it to make people that were probably never going to play the game happy. And now, not only have you lost them because they were never going to play the game anyway, you've now turned off potential customers. Because I hate it when companies bend the knee to the woke mob. And that's exactly what happened here. So, surprise, the Sweet Baby Consultancy Group, Black Girl Gamers, jumped in. By the way, they picked this name on purpose. It's to weaponize the name. Because this is a consultancy company. It's not a group of black girl gamers that hang out and play video games together like people on the internet try to spin it into. It is a consultancy company to make games DEI, ESG compatible. Here's another one coming in and saying, good to know that what game to avoid in the future. WTF is this post? Why is this physic even something you would think of, let alone ask your community for advice? If I was a woman, then I wouldn't feel safe with you. The people women shouldn't feel safe with are male feminists. That's who they shouldn't feel safe with. It's just crazy to me that, so what's funny is these people want, when you put a woman in a game, they want the boobs to not move at all. They just want them to kind of be stationary, not move at all, look weird, kind of like a sandbag or something. I don't know. It's very strange how anti-realism people are when it comes to the woke crowd, when it comes to boobs. It's very strange. It's very weird. Like this one, here's some people just being normal. I'd go with 50% since she's just jogging. 50% is my first choice. Close second, 90. Just add a slider. Like, these people are just being, interactive with the post. They're engaging with the post. But they bent the knee for the few people that don't really make any change or matter, the woke crowd. So now they just turn people off. And the reason that this works with this story is because Square Enix tried real hard to make woke people happy, especially when you look at that pile of shit for Spoken. They lost so much money on that game. I really wish we could find out. But to give you an idea of just how bad they're doing, they are going to report 22.1 billion yen losses for the upcoming fiscal year end. So Square Enix is posted a report that they're expecting to claim extraordinary losses in their latest fiscal year ending March 2024, totaling 22.1 billion yen, which is roughly $140 million in U.S. money. I've kind of talked about them losing money a little bit because Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is not making anywhere near what Square expected to make off of that game. Don't get mad at me. I think the game, from what I've played of it, is fine. Most people have said it's a good game. But I think the problem is, well, that game, one of the big problems with that game is it's only on PS5, where the first one was on PS4, went to PS5, and is also available on Steam. This one's only on PS5. So they were never going to make the money they made before. And also, a lot of people, I think, have lost faith in Square Enix. Square Enix, if you remember, very famously put out that ethics department post and talked about how the ethics department is involved in game creation from the bottom up, from the very beginning of the concept of a video game. They bring in this ethics department to make sure their games are culturally sensitive to other regions, and really just kind of virtual signaling. And you really saw how far they were willing to take it with Forspoken. I remember when Final Fantasy Remake first came out, a lot of conversations revolving around Tifa and her chest, and I think a lot of people have written off Square Enix. Square Enix has had problems for a long time. Honestly, when they added the Enix to their name, Square, in my opinion, kind of started to go downhill. But making games, especially in today's day and age, if you want to make a AAA game, you're going to have to spend a lot of money. And if I was going to spend a lot of money to make something, I would want to appeal to the most amount of people possible. And the best way to do that is to avoid everything that the woke mob wants. So when you have these sweet babies coming your way, you tell them to get the fuck out of your way. Get out of here. Be gone, devil. And that would help. That would definitely help. A lot of these companies have to spend a lot of money, and they end up posting a lot of losses because they try to do this DEI shit from the ground up, and it hurts them, especially these Japanese companies. Stellar Blade, not without its controversy. I talked about this yesterday. They censored the game, and it's turned a lot of people off to it. I don't think it'll hurt the game because at the end of the day, it seems like that game is actually fun to play, and it will help it. But, you know, that put a bad taste in people's mouths as well. And people will remember what happened with this. They do a Stellar Blade 2, and they talk about no censorship. People are going to know they're full of shit, because they're more than willing to censor games. So I think we're going to see some big changes in gaming over the next couple of years. Maybe the next 2 years as things get more expensive because of inflation and all of this shit with resources that became a problem not that long ago. I think things are a little bit more stable now, but gaming is not a cheap hobby, and it's not a cheap production for companies. It costs a lot of money to make games, and when you end up posting losses, it's not a good thing. So we'll see what happens, but I think, in the next 2 years, I think things will even out, because when you start working with these companies, it screws them. You're going to see game journalists go away too. Once the game journalists fail and kind of just vanish and go away, I think that's when you'll really start to see some changes, because for some reason these people still have power. Why do you think Stellar Blade got censored last minute? It was the game journalists and their little mob and collusion and cabal that they like to do to make changes happen in the game industry. It was just kind of wild to see them be effective to an Asian studio, South Korean. I almost said Japanese, but Sony is always ready to censor. Never forget, they're based in California now. Not a Sony of America. No, the entire entertainment division is in California. So they're already kind of a lost cause. It'll be interesting to see, because Sony's going to end up being the last system. There was a story the other day I almost did a video on it talking about how Xbox is dying. No one's buying those consoles anymore. They're probably going to end up becoming a service. You'll probably end up being able to play Xbox and pulling up your Xbox like menu on your PlayStation within the next 2 years. Everything's going to PC gaming. I wonder how long Sony can hold out as one of the last like major console makers. Nintendo's not going anywhere. Nintendo will forever be a niche thing. That's where they're kind of trying to establish themselves with the Switch, and the Switch 2 obviously being like a console / handheld. I don't think they're going anywhere. But anyway, interesting stuff. What are your thoughts on all this? What do you think about the future of gaming? What do you think about Square losing money? What do you think about this farm folks thing? What are your thoughts on all of this? I'd like to hear from you in the comments. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my locals.